They didn't raise their voices when they did it. That's the part people never understand. Humiliation doesn't always sound like shouting. Sometimes it sounds like calm rules, polite smiles, and a sentence said just loud enough for everyone nearby to hear. I was standing at Gate C-19, early evening, glass walls glowing orange from the setting sun. The terminal was packed. Business travelers, families, people half listening to announcements while scrolling on their phones. I remember adjusting the strap of my backpack and thinking about how tired I was. Not the kind of tired sleep fixes. The kind that comes from carrying responsibility longer than most people realize. "Ma'am, you're going to need to step aside." The voice was smooth, practiced, the kind of tone people use when they believe they're unquestionably right. I turned. The gate agent didn't look angry. He looked certain. Late 20s, perfect haircut, crisp uniform, name tag polished like a badge. He glanced at me the way people glance at a stranger who wandered into the wrong room. "This is priority boarding." I handed him my boarding pass. "First class, seat 2A. He barely looked at it. "I'm going to need you to move back until we sort this out." A couple of people behind me shifted. Someone sighed. I felt the heat creep up my neck, not embarrassment yet, more like awareness. Phones were already lifting, subtle at first, pretending not to record. I said calmly, "There's nothing to sort out, that's my seat." He smiled, not kindly, not cruelly, just dismissively. Let's be realistic. That sentence landed harder than anything else he could have said. I've learned something in my life. People reveal their beliefs when they think you don't matter, when they think there are no consequences. I was wearing jeans, a plain jacket, sneakers I'd broken in years ago. No logo screaming success, no entourage. To him, I didn't match the picture in his head of who belonged up front. A supervisor arrived. A woman this time, polite, tired eyes. She asked questions that sounded neutral but weren't. "Did you purchase this ticket yourself? Do you have another form of verification? Is there someone we can call?" I watched the people boarding around me, white, confident, unquestioned, wave their phones and stroll past. No IDs, no interrogation, just assumptions working in their favor. Someone behind me whispered, "Why is she making a scene?" That one stung, because I wasn't. I wasn't yelling, I wasn't arguing. I was standing still, holding a valid ticket, asking to board my flight. The agent crossed his arms. "Ma'am, we have standards." There it was. Standards. That word has chased me my entire life. I felt something tighten in my chest, not anger yet. Disappointment. A familiar one. The kind that takes you back to classrooms where teachers assumed you needed help you didn't ask for. Boardrooms where your ideas were praised after someone else repeated them. Meetings where your credentials were questioned twice. I could have ended it right there. I could have said my title, my role, the company name people recognize instantly. I could have watched the panic spread across his face, enjoyed the sudden respect, the apologies tumbling over each other. But I didn't, because I wanted to see how far he'd go. Power tells the truth when it thinks it's unobserved. The supervisor suggested security just to keep things smooth. The words were gentle, the implication wasn't. I noticed more phones now. Someone was definitely live streaming. The energy shifted, not outrage, not support, curiosity. People love watching authority collide with resistance, even quiet resistance. A security officer approached, uncomfortable eyes flicking between us. "Ma'am, could you step aside?" I smiled, not a friendly smile, a controlled one. "I'm not refusing to cooperate," I said. "I'm refusing to be treated differently without cause." The agent scoffed. "You're making this harder than it needs to be." No, he was. I looked at him and asked very clearly, "Can you explain what exactly is wrong with my ticket?" He hesitated, just for a second. "That's not the point." And there it was. The point had never been the ticket. I took a breath, slow, measured. I could feel my pulse in my ears, but my voice stayed steady. "Then call your manager." He laughed, sharp, defensive. "We don't escalate every little issue." Little. Behind him, boarding had stopped entirely. No one moved. Even the plane seemed to wait. I reached into my bag and pulled out my phone. I didn't announce anything. I didn't show him first. I showed the supervisor. Her eyes changed instantly. Then the security officer leaned in. Then the agent leaned closer, squinting. And suddenly the room felt different. It's hard to explain what happens when the truth enters a space built on assumptions. It doesn't explode. It drains the noise out of the room. I think I said quietly, "You should take another look." Silence. The agent's posture shifted. His arms dropped. The certainty drained from his face, replaced by confusion, then fear. I didn't know he started. I held up my hand. "That's not the defense you think it is." People stopped recording. Some lowered their phones slowly, like they'd just realized they were holding something heavy. The supervisor apologized. Too quickly. Too formally. The kind of apology designed to protect a company, not acknowledge harm. I nodded once. "I'd like to board now." They stepped aside. As I walked down the jet bridge, I could feel eyes on my back. Not judgment now, but something closer to shame. Or maybe recognition. I didn't look back. I sat in my seat, buckled in, placed my bag under the seat in front of me. My hands were steady. My chest wasn't. Because here's the part. No one tells you winning doesn't always feel good. Sometimes it just feels quiet. Heavy. Necessary. As the plane pushed back, I stared out the window at the terminal lights blurring into lines. I thought about how close I came to saying nothing, to stepping aside, to letting it go. And I thought about how many people do that every day, not because they're wrong, but because they're tired. Later, after the emails and the calls and the official language about reviewing procedures, I kept thinking about the agent's first sentence. Let's be realistic. He was right about one thing. This was reality. A reality where people decide who you are before you speak, where dignity is rationed based on appearance, where respect is conditional. I didn't raise my voice that night. I didn't insult anyone. I didn't demand special treatment. I simply refused to disappear. And sometimes that's the most disruptive thing you can do. So I'll leave you with this. Not a lesson, not a speech, just a question. If you had been standing there, would you have spoken up or would you have stepped aside? Tell me what you think.